Hi, Tam.
Yes.
Hi, such
How
an
you
important
doing?
reminder.
Great to see you, Tam. Look, I mean, we've spent the morning talking about the biggest stories of the year, and Mark McAllister of City News is going to join us tomorrow. We're going to continue this theme. But the one that really stuck out last night at the U.S. House of Representatives was Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. His first trip outside of Ukraine proper since the invasion 10 months ago of Russia. On the line here is a lot of money. $45 billion is the bill that's sitting there in front of Congress to send to Ukraine. There are a few Republican senators and House of Representatives, you can probably figure out who they are, who are a little hesitant at sending $45 billion to Ukraine. That was the main point of this trip. This is what the president said directly to them in a historic address yesterday.
Our two nations are allies in this battle. And next year will be a turning point. I know it, the point when Ukrainian courage and American resolve must guarantee the future of our common freedom. Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way.
I lost track of the standing ovations last night. That is historic. Some context here. It doesn't happen a lot. Winston Churchill, after Pearl Harbor, was in front of Congress back in 1941. He had a very historic moment there when basically the coalition was solidified between the States and Britain. Two sitting Canadian prime ministers have only spoken to a joint session of Congress. Justin Trudeau's father back in the day, Brian Mulroney, also did it. It does not happen a lot. Tammie, just after absorbing all of that, what was your takeaway?
Well, it was pretty incredible. I remember when he virtually addressed the U.S. government not too long ago, when he was kind of making the round, speaking to many different countries, as the war continued. And that was powerful enough when he made those addresses. And when he had videos showing just some of the carnage in Ukraine, to have him actually in person, live in the flesh, and him speaking in English, delivering this address in English, and also saying it with such passion, such power, and saying that Ukraine is still alive and kicking, I just thought, that is, if that's not impactful, then nothing will be. And I hope it does change the minds of those few who are concerned about this money being invested.
And Nancy Pelosi, the outgoing Speaker of the House, is fairly confident in the next 48 hours before Congress breaks officially for Christmas, they're going to pass this bill. It was quite the moment.
Sid, his spirit, like to your point, Tam, and resolve was unbelievable. This is a man who has witnessed and heard about the worst atrocities that can only happen during war times. And he literally showed up in the same army green sweater and pants because he was on the battleground the day before. He didn't show up in a suit. Like, you're very much aware that he just came from the barracks of war and he's about to go back into it. And yet he talked about Christmas and how a lot of people around the world are going to be having a wonderful Christmas. And guess what? He said, so are we in Ukraine. Even without power, we will turn on our candles. We will figure it out because we have strength, we have resolve, and we will fight. And he's trying to bring all the allies around the world. He kept mentioning, he brought up, you name it, he went down the list, saying we're fighting for the grandchildren in the future. This isn't just a Ukraine fight, which is why you have a point as to where you think this is all going.
Well, thanks, Steve, for that. Couple things. One, it was amazing to watch, but I still was frustrated by it because of certain people in the Senate and the House of Representatives, he felt like he had to make this trip. In what world do you have to make this trip, considering what's going on back at home?
Yeah.
That's asinine. That is asinine. But $45 billion is $45 billion. The Patriot Defense System, which is also on the line here for Ukraine, which they kind of need, is important. I was almost embarrassed for the man that he had to go to the United States and push the ball closer to the goal line with some senators and congressmen who just do it for clicks. And this is going to pass. I don't think he needed to come to North America for this to pass. But that's the joke that is at times American politics, and he had to do it. That was my initial takeaway. Hearing the speech, he mentioned Iran multiple times, okay? Iran are providing drones to Russia. United States are providing a lot to Ukraine. NATO providing a lot to Ukraine. But what's happening here, like the vision of Joe Biden sitting next to President Zelenskyy yesterday, that's a wartime act. That's a visual that Biden wanted out there. And calling out Iran, like we're in the middle of a global conflict right now, whether people want to admit it or not. This is happening. War is an organism and it changes. Our visions of what it was, Gulf War, World War II, it's not happening now. It's happening very differently. The world is now involved in this. And that to me was solidified yesterday by the visuals and what he was saying about other countries. For another leader to rip Iran, as powerful as they are, multiple times in front of Congress, that's unheard of. I've never seen anything like that. From another leader, we're in the middle of it. Hopefully it ends soon. Hopefully that leader gets us $45 billion and people in Ukraine can get peace. But that was historic. That was incredible.